maybe I'm not in the right circles on the right, but I think it's well known that Trump and his administration is still corrupt. I don't think anybody says Trump isn't corrupt. Trump is different from his base. And you clearly are not either paying attention properly to the politics or you are far on the left in your own silo to realize that Trump and his base are different. The fact that he's shocked by this shows how out of touch he is with the political climate. Well, he's a leftist. So it's bad when the right does it and perfectly fine when the left does it. That's their mentality. I really feel like that's grasping at straws. Like the vast majority of this video was just him grasping at straws. He only made like 2 solid points. So I did get spoiled a little bit for this video because when I raided Leaflet on Monday, she was in the middle of watching this. And when I raid people, I do try to lurk for a little bit just because I feel like it's rude to raid and leave. So I did get a little bit spoiled, but I think that's like at the close to the end of the video. I don't remember too much about it, but this was in stream suggestions, and I figured, you know what? I've heard some things about it other than Leaflet reacting to it, and so I was like, you know what? It's in stream suggestions. I guess I'll react to it. It does sound interesting. I know of Moist Critical, Charlie, Penguins, whatever you want to call him. I've never actually watched like any of his stuff. He's too normie sphere for me, like Asmon is. Like I never really watched anything of Asmon's either, because the just things that within the normie sphere just don't interest me at all. But I've heard of him. I know he had a debate with Sneeko like last year, and he defended like transing kids and shit. So like my opinion of him, he's some sort of like leftist normie essentially. Like, well, at least with Asmongold, well, I think he's like top tier of normie slop. At least he's a weather vane, and so you can kind of get a vibe of what normies think based off what Asmon is saying. And he is important because he helps push the narrative more right leaning as well, because he is, you know, a weather vane himself. With Moist Critical, I know he got pretty much BTFO'd after that whole debate with Sneeko. And he lost a lot of credibility with at that point, because I know before then he was considered pretty popular. But I could be reading the situation wrong, because like I said, I don't watch normie stuff myself. Like that's just not what I like, frankly. So this will be like, I guess, my first real introduction to Moist Critical, other than the clips that I've seen floating around from time to time. To be fair, Asmon does have some very base takes, but he's not really right-wing. Well, yeah, like I said before the break, I don't consider Asmon right-wing. He's part of the big tent. He's like center left almost. If you go by, I guess, the class, the correct Overton window. At this point, like it's hard. Like at this point, because the left has shifted everything so far left. I do think it's important to realign what's actually left and right. And I kind of see Asmon as center left, frankly. So I guess I would put Moist Critical based off the clips I've seen and what I know of him to, like, I don't want to say the far left. But then again, he wants transing kids, so that's pretty far left in my opinion. But he might not be a full-on communist. Anyway, let's actually get into the video at hand. Because I've heard some crazy things about this.
I remember growing up thinking that brainwashing and mind control was just something you see in comic books and cartoons. But now I know it's a very real thing that you can see happening daily in this country. Now, the big thing I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about a lot here.
Okay, not the pause is 15 seconds in, but I'm going to pause this 15 seconds in. Maybe he's being hyperbolic, but I thought it was well known that brainwashing is true because propaganda exists. Like, you are propagandized from the day that you're fucking born, which that brainwashes you in some way, shape, or form, and whatever side that you get your propaganda from. Like, propaganda usually has, like, an evil connotation to it, which is fair enough because it's usually used for evil ways. But it's technically neutral because it's a tool. It's just a matter of which side uses it.
Be a bunch of blabber in here and drool coming out of my mouth as I'm spitting because I'm about to be getting pretty passionate. And the big focus is on the huge crypto collapse from yesterday. And the very suspicious, very lucky trader who was able to cash out $190 million off of it because they were shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum a day before and all the way up until a minute before Trump's Truth Social post announcing the massive tariffs on China, which crashed the entire market. And then 30 minutes later, they cash out $190 million. It seems like they might have known something, but That can't be, right? That would be corruption. And this administration doesn't engage in that kind of nefarious activity, except for all the previous times that this exact same thing has happened with Trump announcing things on Truth Social that people close to him that suckle his fucking teats must have had insider knowledge on because they're able to cash out millions upon millions of dollars because of his rinse and repeat cycle of threatening tariffs, backing off tariffs, postponing tariffs, just fluctuating the market up and down. Yet people in his inner circle must be privy to this knowledge because they are making absolute bullseye trades based on that before it becomes public. So this
Okay, so I said this a couple times earlier in stream when we were covering the political hit piece. I don't give a shit about like financial corruption because okay, I heard a little bit about this. I wasn't really paying that much attention because once again, I don't give a shit about financial corruption because both parties are deeply entrenched in it. Anybody, maybe I'm not in the right circles on the right, but I think it's well known that Trump and his administration is still corrupt. I don't think anybody says Trump isn't corrupt. I mean, let's take one look at the fucking Epstein files and how that was handled. Everybody on the right basically bashed him for months now about how he handled the Epstein files and how clear that corruption actually is. Like, that is one point I guess the left and the right can agree on, is that the Epstein files was handled and that is corruption. And when it comes to financial corruption, same fucking thing. Do we want to take one look at Nancy fucking Pelosi? The whole fucking Twitter account that tracks her trades and her stock shit because of how notorious she is when it comes to that stuff. Like, I don't give a shit about financial corruption. It happens severely and awfully on both sides. This is such a non-issue to attack the Trump administration on because you can take one glance at the Democrats and do the same fucking thing. If anything, I can make the argument that the Democrats are worse when it comes to financial corruption because if you look at a DNC, then you can see the trail with Hillary Clinton and how bad it is within the George Soros funds, the Act Blues, the bricks for the Black Lives Matter protests. Like if you look at the receipts and the paper trail that they lead, you can see how deeply they're involved with all these quote-unquote protests that Antifa and Black Lives Matter have been in. And I think rioting and burning down cities and harassing people, like actually like IRL and wanting to punch Nazis, is far worse than somebody doing a quick rich screen with crypto. But that's just me. That's just me. The fact that he's shocked by this shows how out of touch he is with the political climate. Well, he's a leftist, so it's bad when the right does it and perfectly fine when the left does it. That's their mentality. I'd rather not have corruption. Well, me too, but that's unfortunately just how it happens, especially when you're in a democracy. I mean, it happens regardless of your political mechanisms, essentially, whether it be monarchy or theocracy or democracy or whatever the case is, which we're not even really a democracy, but it's whatever, a different topic for a different day. It's still gonna happen. It's just democracy helps make it worse. Still don't fully support monarchy, by the way. Spoon hasn't converted me yet.
This isn't really anything new, it's just the most egregious instance because you can literally see it. This account opens and starts shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum a day before this announcement, and then a minute before the Truth Social post goes live. Like, it's unbelievable. And if you're a MAGA cultist, it actually is unbelievable. They refuse to believe it. They refuse to accept the very real reality that they are getting fucking hosed. Trump and Trump's family's net worth has exploded since becoming president. How do you defend that? Well, I'll tell you how. Because they say Trump is such a benevolent saint, he actually doesn't even keep his salary from being president. Wow, that's how much he cares about the American people. You fucking delusional homunculus. The presidential salary is actual peanuts. It's literal fucking used condoms in the grand scheme of how much money him and his family are making throughout his presidency. When he was being fucking sworn in, he was still launching up to 168 new products. And that
Okay, I want to read that. There we go. First off, though, you know how many people have come into the presidency and walked out much, much richer than they actually were going in for what's peanuts of a salary? So the fact that Trump actually just gives his money away is actually a good thing and better than what pretty much every other president has ever done before in the past. So let's actually read this, though. The Trump store launched at least 168 new products online costing $13,803.92 total between Election Day and Inauguration Day, according to a new analysis by Crew. That marks 168 more items sold by a president-elect's company for personal profit during the presidential transition period than a former president-elect. Okay, so capitalism, baby. Even in the lead up to the Trump's first term, he did not monetize the transition period with merchandise the same way, making these products an unprecedented way for supporters to funnel money to an incoming president. Well, it's because he's a lot more fucking popular this time around after losing the 2020 election and being stolen from him. The Trump store did not run out of the Trump campaign, but by the Trump organization itself, with a for-profit Trump empire that directly feeds into the Trump family's pockets. And it's not subtle what it's selling. Anything and everything President Trump. Okay, so I don't know the actual legal laws around what a candidate can do for the election and how they get their money. But if it's not actually running out of the Trump campaign and just part of his Trump corporation because, or in this case, Trump organization, but like because he actually owns a business because he's a businessman, then it's not running out of the Trump campaign, so it's not. I don't see how any laws would be broken in this case. Based off, once again, I don't know the actual legalese around this stuff, but I'm just guessing on this. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Like, this is a non-argument, in my opinion. Like, you can criticize Trump for a lot of things, but this ain't it. Oh no, people bought his merch. This is on par with insider trading, guys.
And that doesn't even include things like his cologne that he launched, you know, the fucking Trump Gooch galore smell, the Trump watches, the Trump phone and shit like that. So that has only increased the amount of things that he is hawking to the American people to buy solely to enrich himself and his family, his fucking meme coin and all of that.
Okay, the meme coin was definitely bad. Because anything that's a meme coin should immediately give you red flags and you should run away from it. I'm not one that really understands crypto. I will fully admit that. But I've seen enough meme coins pop and then disappear 2 days later to know how it function works. Don't touch meme coins. This was actually a bad move by Trump. I can criticize Trump on this because this is bad. And that this is I guess a good argument from Charlie to make on this. Is it the most hard-hitting one? I mean, I guess so far that he's made. But not one that I would personally use to disparage Trump. Like, a new Forbes report reveals that the Trump family has profited enormously from the presidency, doubling its fortune to a total of about $10 billion. That's normal for presidents, so usually they do that from insider trading, which I'm sure Trump does as well. But if it's just a regularized crypto company, then it's not that big of a deal, but the meme coin is. World Liberty is notably at the center of a scandal, as the New York Times revealed last week, and made the firm secure $2 billion investment from Emirati Royal, who just happens to control a company that, per deal with the United Arab Emirates, that was announced 2 weeks later, which Witkoff helped negotiate, will receive precious AI computer chips from the US government. Okay, so that is suspicious, if this is true, but I'm also not surprised, because this is really normal, once again. Like, all these criticisms against Trump, other than the meme coin, are basically typical things that presidents and politicians do. It's just no different. I don't see people pissed off by this anymore, but last year when I started streaming, a lot of people would get pissed off when I would say that Trump's a politician now. Let's just say probably beginning of this year. But I know Trump, when he came in, Trump was like, oh, he's a businessman, blah, 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 he's not a politician. Well, it's been 8 fucking years. Trump's a politician now. He's going to do politician things, and he's definitely acting like one. This is just, unfortunately, another one of these. Also, does he have the sources for these articles in the video here? Because, like, granted, all my videos are live streams. This is a pre-recorded thing. But when I read articles, it's very clear where the article came from. And when they just show screenshots from articles, that makes me a bit suspicious. And there is no link in the description, of course. Okay.
Off of you, as you suffer and get less and less money, they get more and more. They are.
Well, welcome to fucking Democrat fucking taxes. Well, I went on a whole rant earlier this stream about minimum wage being raised. Wonder how that fucking works. Oh, where's that happening? Democrat cities. How does that happen? Makes you want to think. What about all those welfare recipients? Who's pushing for more welfare? We can play tit for tat as much as you want. But I would definitely say one's the lesser of two evils. That is Trump is the lesser of the two evils in this case.
Taking the pizza and not even leaving you bits and pieces, morsels of the crust. It's sad, and yet people love it. They will accept it with a fucking smile on their face and say, please, give me some more. I've got more holes for you to fill. Please, come in here. I'm waiting. It's just absurd. They don't even stick to a single belief anymore. Like the Epstein files, I know I have made a lot of content on in the past, so I'm not going to regurgitate that. But the Epstein files are a really good example of how they really cared about the Epstein files, and they were really upset at the failure of Joe Biden to release them in that administration. So they were hyping up Trump about all of his promises to release those Epstein files, which he has still not done and still actively just like discounts. And the entire administration.
Yeah, and the vast majority of the online right's absolutely pissed at him about it, and it still holds over his head. Like, I bring it up pretty constantly. Granted, I wouldn't consider myself like a MAGA cultist, but granted, I'm sure Charlie here would consider me one because I support Trump. But, like, I've seen nothing but criticism from the right about how the handling of the Epstein files have gone. It's absolute fucking disaster. I've made multiple streams about it that are now lost in the void, unfortunately, but thank you, YouTube. That's a different story. Not to mention, once again, we can flip it back to the left. Why didn't Joe Biden release it? Why didn't the left clamor for Joe Biden to release Epstein files? Why weren't you, Mr. Moist Critical, calling for Joe Biden to release the Epstein files during his presidency? Maybe you were, and I missed it, because like I said, I never really watched anything from Moist Critical before, because he seemed like normie slop to me, and I'm not interested in it, so maybe I could be wrong. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But where was the left during Joe Biden's presidency, calling for him to be the Epstein files to be released? In my opinion, Trump engaging in even normal levels of corruption is a really stupid decision, knowing how biased lefties are against him. There's an actual disease called Trump derangement syndrome, for goodness sake. Yes, but corruption's corruption. All humans are corrupt, inherently evil. It's going to happen regardless. And no matter how, how many impeachments has he gone through? There was the whole Russiagate that happened during his first presidency. The FBI looked into him. He got the Mar-a-Lago raid. I know he had, those 50 fucking federal counts to get him, but, a lot of them, from what I understand, was complete fucking bullshit. He's surprisingly clean for what he actually is. So, the normal level of corruption's normal. So, no, not a single person is a MAGA cultist. He used that term for anyone supporting Trump. Yeah, well, that's not surprising here.
Administration denying the existence of now, and this same group of people that was so excited for Trump to follow through on that promise is now like, oh, he didn't break any promises. In fact, it's just not even important. That's why he's not doing it. It's not a big deal.
Okay, where's the examples of this? Because once again, I doomscroll Twitter way more than I probably should, and I get. Social media has an algorithm. It curates to what your needs and what you like. And so you can easily get siloed off. But my job is, as a political streamer, is to report on the news. I try to curate my timeline into being news-related things. And it irritates me when it even slightly turns into a different direction from that. The only people I've seen that brush it on the rug are the people that report of the whole Epstein's file phase release again, like DC Drano and Laura Loomer, which then they can talk about their regional loyalties in that case, if you really wanted to. Those were the big fake names being propped up. Vast majority of people, once again, have criticized Trump for how he handled the Epstein files. Where are these people who are, oh, it's totally fine now?
Who cares about the Epstein files? We have so many bigger things to worry about. What the next product we're gonna have to buy from Trump is. They're just now saying, it doesn't matter. We don't care. We actually don't want this information. Actually, I believe everything they're saying now. Yeah, it definitely doesn't exist. Yeah, actually, Maxwell's probably innocent, too. But, again, I've already talked about that a lot. Let's talk about some other stuff. The COVID vaccine. Trump just got a COVID booster. Not a conspiracy. Just out in the open, signed, documented, stamped. It is legitimate. Trump just got a COVID booster. And this administration has constantly played into the MAGA fear of the jab. That was one of the big things with MAGA, is how this is, contaminating us, poisoning us. They're trying to kill us with the jab. And now Trump just got the vaccine booster, and those same people, like Gunther Dickelman, are now applauding.
Okay, I don't like Gunther Eagleman. He's definitely one of those paid shills here. You gotta be careful. I'll use him as a source from time to time, because I'll use almost anybody as a source as long as it looks credible in some way, shape, or form. Even if I don't personally like him, even Ian Miles Chungus or Tommy Robinson or whatever the case is, if they're the only ones posting a video or whatever, and it seems legit, then I am going to use them as a source. Do I like it? No, but it happens. Gunther Eagleman's one of those weird, clearly paid off and has his hands in a few pockets accounts. Also, by the way, fun fact, minus Gunther Eagleman's legitimacy here, Trump's the one that created Operation Warp Speed, and he's been pretty proud about it since he started Operation Warp Speed. He has doubled down repeatedly about Operation Warp Speed, And Operation Warp Speed, if for those who don't know, is where they created the COVID vaccine to try to get out as soon as possible. They skipped animal testing and went straight to fucking humans, which is abysmal. Like, I have bashed, once again, I have bashed Trump on Operation Warp Speed many times because I hate it with a passion. I don't like the COVID vaccine. I do not like how COVID was handled at all, and I can rant about it for ages. The mask thing's a scam, the vaccine's a fucking scam, the shutdown's a fucking scam, the whole fucking thing's a complete fucking disaster, and Trump was part of the problem with Operation Warp Speed. And he has doubled down, and I'll give Trump credit where credit is due. He's doubled down repeatedly about how proud he is about it. It's only relatively recently that he's just like, oh, well, if RFK finds out the Operation Warp Speed was bad, then I guess it's bad. You know, I fucked up. But that's recent. That was like a month ago or something like that. And even then, it still wasn't actually a full, like, oh, Operation Warp Speed is bad. We're just gonna wait till RFK finds out if that's the case or not. Trump is different from his base. And you clearly are not paying attention properly to the politics, or you are far on the left in your own silo to realize that Trump and his base are different. Because there's many people like me that recognize Trump isn't the final solution, or at a bare minimum is way better than Kamala Harris ever would be. And so they vote for him because there's no other choice. And that's exactly what fucking happened. But Trump's base isn't the same thing as Trump. Trump is not radical enough for a lot of fucking people. Hell, J.D. Vance seems more radical than Trump is. And J.D. Vance still isn't radical enough either. Like, there's a gulf between them, but just because Trump is not radical enough doesn't mean I'm gonna vote for Kamala fucking Harris. Operation Warp Speed was retarded, but it does not change the fact that Trump is not anti-vaxxer, and his base does not either. A good chunk of the base is also pro-vaccine, but a good chunk of the base is also anti-vax. It's actually a pretty decent split, I would say. I would probably say majority is more anti-vax just because of the COVID vaccine, but there's also the difference between being anti-vax and being anti-COVID vaccine. A lot of people are anti-COVID vaccine because they were able to recognize how suspicious it was, and how forced upon it, and how badly mismanaged the shutdown was. But a lot of people are still pro-vaccine because they've been indoctrinated that vaccines are great.
Him for it, sucking a fucking fart out of his butt for it, giving him a full rim job like, yes, the president's healthy, this is great news. Meanwhile, only a few months ago, a big talking point from him and so many others is the COVID vaccine and the evil of it. But now that Trump got the vaccine booster, well, now they love it. Well, now it's great. Actually, Trump probably got the vaccine booster because he's going to immediately give all of us herd immunity. He is using himself as a selfless sacrifice with the jab, so that way his aura of being immune to COVID will help infiltrate all of us via osmosis. So now we're all immune to COVID thanks to Trump getting the COVID vaccine booster. Or some crazy shit, maybe. That one I'm just spitballing, but I'm trying to find ways they'll mental gymnastics around it. But the sad reality is they're not even going to bother trying. They're just going to be like Gunther here and just be like the good little NPC drone that's like, anything Trump does is great. Can't wait to swallow more Trump meat. Even though it goes...
I'm losing brain cells listening to this. I mean, at least he admitted he's spitballing on how to do the mental gymnastics, but like, is he going to make a valid point throughout any of this video?
Completely against all of the things he was talking about. Like, so many people that were talking about the jab and how evil it is and all of that are now celebrating that Trump got it. It's just so obvious. It's so blatant. Like fucking cat turd. I don't think I've seen anything from him on Trump getting the jab here. Just radio silence, just crickets. It's just ignore things that make you have to think. That is the cult mentality of MAGA. Anything Trump does is perfect. Anything that makes me think that maybe there's something else there, I shut out. I plug my ears to. It is fucking horrifying. Trump is now building a Qatari Air Force base in Idaho. Trump has accepted a huge $400 million Wumbo Turbo Superstar jet from Qatar.
Okay, so this is where we're getting to where I rated Leaflet the other night, and I was hearing some of this stuff when I was lurking. I didn't stay for too long. So I actually did cover on my stream about the Qatari gift when this happened months ago. Of course, now it's lost in the void, but I did cover it at the time. And I criticized Trump for this because it is suspicious to receive this. And they needed to look every single centimeter, millimeter over for any suspicious fucking shit But also I read the article about it, and they set up this jet, but they are remodeling it essentially, at least the inside of it, to fit their needs, if I remember correctly. Now this is months ago that I remember reading the article, but it has, so I might get some details wrong, so I'm going based off memory. But this is a gift. Now, one thing Leaflet did say, and I did think was actually a good point, is that a lot of businesses, people, when you're doing contracts and trying to make deals with each other, do send gifts as ways of goodwill. And that actually is a good argument, and shout out to Leaflet for making that, because I do think that that is a good argument. Do I still like it personally? Not really, because I don't like the sand people, and I wish we weren't actually that involved with it. But since we are the world hegemon, Trump is the president of the United States, we unfortunately do have to be involved with the sand people way more than I prefer. Thank you, Israel. But still, this is not great. I still don't like it, but as a gift, it does make sense. And Trump administration has completely is remodeling it and basically remaking it in a certain way to make it for what they need. So it's still not great, but it's not as bad as it actually sounds with it. And as well as the Qatari airbase, I looked it up. I looked it up here. JD Vance, the sexy man himself, has come out saying that there's been misreporting for an uproar after Hexas Qatari Air Force facility announcement. Now, not to stop the React video, I know that ruins the content, but it's a short article. We're going to read it because this is a pretty big fucking claim that, if true, is actually quite serious. A minor MAGA Republican uproar last week over the news that the U.S. would host Qatari pilots at a U.S. military base in Idaho was not caused by the Pentagon's misleading phrasing for the facility, but rather a misreporting on the facts, according to Vice President Vance. The Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Friday that the U.S. would be signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatar Emery Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho, a location that set to host a contingent of Qatari F-15 fighter jets and pilots. So, this sounds really bad, actually, and this is where I would criticize Trump if this was true, that to build a Air Force facility for Qatar in Idaho, no, that should not be fucking allowed. That's actually really bad. It's not allowing foreigners to build bases within our fucking country, especially the sand people. I know we have our own bases in like Germany and Japan and different places, but we're the world hegemon. Fuck you, these are the sand people. No, we should not be giving that kind of power to them. However, the news quickly sparked a backlash from several prominent figures and the GOP's MAGA base. So, actually already debunking what Charlie is saying, because a lot of people are shitting on him before this came out, who blasted the Trump administration for allowing what seemed to be, according to Hexas phrasing, a Qatari military base on U.S. soil. Qatar's media attaché to the U.S. later clarified that a standalone Qatari air base would not exist, but that the country had made a 10-year commitment to build and maintain a dedicated training facility with an existing U.S. air base. So, it's still not great. So, I mean, a standalone Qatari air base is still, I'm glad that's not happening. But a 10-year commitment to build and maintain a dedicated training facility within a U.S. air base for Qatar still makes me uncomfortable. As Vladimir Paler says, we maintain training packs with many nations, and our soldiers and officers train with each other. UK soldiers train with US soldiers and vice versa. Yes, that is true, and we're basically making this deal with Qatar, which I don't like because I don't like Qatar. I don't like the sand people. Fortunately, this is normal practice. In fact, actually, many years ago, China was training during winter in Canada. This was back in like 2018, 2019, or something along those lines. I forget the exact year. But it came out that Canada, as I said, that China was training with their Chinese troops in Canada during winter to practice for winter environments. That pissed me off. And that's why I still remember it to this fucking day, because that seemed like traitorous and very concerning that Canada would train Chinese military for winter. But I also understand that it is relatively normal, even if I dislike it here. Our largest base in the Middle East is Qatar. I mean, it makes sense. Like, I'd rather us be friends with Qatar than Israel, but I still don't like the sand people personally. Qatar pays good money for US and European expertise, much like China. Yeah, I don't like Qatar, but we do have good relations with them. And as the world hegemon, we still have to have good relations with these countries, even if I don't like it. Speaking during on Sunday morning futures on Fox News, Vance called the fear a fake story. This is largely a fake story, Vance said. We continue to have, with countries that we work with, we have relationships where sometimes their pilots work on our bases, sometimes that we train together, sometimes we work together in other ways. Reporting that somehow there's going to be a Qatari base on US and United States soil is just not true. He added, "We're not going to let a foreign country have an actual base on American soil." So there's a bit of misreporting on that, as there often is. So yes, it's not an actual fucking base like Charlie is saying here. And don't worry, we'll go back to the video here shortly. I'm gonna just finish the article. But it still doesn't make me comfortable. But Vance is correct. We do this a lot of with other countries. Qatar is just one of those. Even if I don't personally care for it, because I don't like the sand people. Among those that reacted sharply to Friday's news was Laura Loomer, a far-right political activist and close ally to President Trump, who says she felt betrayed over the matter. Over several social media posts on Friday afternoon, Loomer stressed that no foreign country should have a military base on U.S. soil, especially Islamic countries. Well, I don't like Islam either, but I don't like the Jews, so what about you, Laura Loomer? Should he go back to Israel already? I think so. Never thought I see Republicans give terror financing Muslims from Qatar at a military base on U.S. soil so they can murder Americans, Loomer posted on the social media platform X. I don't think we have that bad of a relationship with Qatar that they're murdering Americans. I wouldn't be surprised because they're Muslim, but once again, as far as I'm aware, Qatar is one of our better relationships within the Sand people, but not with the Sand people. I don't think I'll be voting in 2026. I cannot in good conscience make any excuses for the harboring of jihadis. Loomer does good reporting, and I often use her as a source for streams, but sometimes she can be a little bit, hyperbolic. Loomer had previously called out Trump over his acceptance of a luxury Boeing jet from Qatari government. Yeah, and I did the same too, because it's not great. I still don't fucking like it. She frequently exposed her disdain for Qatar and other countries with a majority Muslim population. The Trump administration has had a steadily growing relationship with Qatar, which had credited with helping secure Gaza peace deal between Israel and Hamas. And earlier this month, Trump signed an executive order to increase U.S. protection of Qatar following an Israeli strike targeting Hamas leaders in Doha that killed 6 people, including a Qatari security officer. It's amazing that Qatar actually has a good relationship with us after that. Speaking Friday at Pentagon alongside Saud bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, the Qatari defense minister, Hexas, said the agreement to house Qatari pilots in Idaho showcases the strength of partnership between Doha and Washington. We are grateful for the strong partnership that we have, the way you support our troops at Al Udeid Excellency. The line of communication we've had together, Hexas said, referencing the U.S. military base in Qatar. So, like I said, I'm still not happy with this, but it's better than actually having a base in Idaho, like Charlie is saying here. And it's just one of those things that we do with foreign countries to strengthen the relationship with them. Qatar is just one of those that we're working with, especially to have a base within the Middle East. I still don't like the jet, though it's better than what it was originally. Giving gifts during deals is actually fairly normal. Once again, I can't stress enough. Do I like it? No, but there's a lot of things that I don't like that are necessary evils to run a country. And it's just one of those that I have to defend, even if I still don't care for it. The US should trust no one but itself, but it would be absurd not to attempt peaceful relations with friendly allies, yes.
Superstar jet from Qatar. It's a crazy gift. That's one hell of a donation there. I don't want to toss the B word around too lightly here, the nomenclature, but I mean, definitely smells a little fishy over here with that, especially in regards to what came soon after. He then signed a $5.5 billion deal with Qatar for a Trump golf course. Yippee, that's great for the American people. More Trump wealth that he accumulates here through this deal. And now he is putting a Qatar Air Force base on our homeland soil. America first, right? Yeah, it's really America first thinking right there. Yeah, and then I've already seen the cope about how actually no, this is a joint training procedure. This is something that we do all the time, actually. And I saw JD, My Chemical Romance Vance, talking today about like how it's actually just all fake news and stuff. Even though they have literally verbatim point blank said exactly what this deal is, and he is just denying that. So not even the administration is in agreement on their talking points right now. It's a fucking mess. And still, people are so brainwashed and mind controlled that they'll just accept it and be like, this is great. This is America first, actually, to put this Qatar Air Force base in Idaho. That's actually exactly what I want.
Okay, I don't trust politicians with the government, but I'm gonna trust JD Vance and take him by his word because he has proven time and time again to be a bit more genuine than the average VP and politician when it comes to this. And yeah, okay, because if we read that quote from Hexit during the article that I read, it does sound bad the way he said it. Granted, that's also just a quote, so it could have been taken out of context here. Because at least this time Charlie's actually showing these articles on screen. But if it's taken out of context and misreported, like what it seems to have been, then that's what it is. Like, Hexit was either taken out of context, or he said he tripped over his own words and said the wrong ones, or maybe Charlie is right and they don't have the right talking points and align with each other. Which, if that's the case, then yeah, that's actually valid criticism of it. But so far, things have been cleared up. It's just a joint military practice once again. And calling JD Vance My Chemical Romance. Okay, 1, My Chemical Romance is actually pretty good. 2, the eyeliner's hot. 3, trying to insult your opponents doesn't help your argument. Like, I try my best not to say somebody's a piece of shit or a bitch or awful human being, different things like that. I do from time to time because that happens, right? But so far, we're halfway through this video, roughly. Well, a little bit less than that. And he hasn't really made any really good points, and a lot of it is just grasping at straws to shit on Trump administration over the littlest things that either the other party does as well, or in this case, it's just, well, fake news. You're not making things better for yourself here.
And then Trump always finds a way to surprise me with some crazy schizo posting late at night. So his most recent one is the Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. If this is so, which it is, a lot of very good people will be owed big apologies. What a scam! Do something! President DJT. There is so much wrong with that. I think he forgot to take his suppositories because holy shit, Trump was president on January 6th. Biden did not control the FBI. But you know what? Let's play ball here and dive into a fucking fever dream, a fantasy. Let's say Joseph Biden set down his ice cream, cracked his knuckles, and assumed direct control of the FBI on January 6th and placed all of these agents in here just as Trump says. Well, why don't you do something about it? You are the president. Who are you asking to do something?
It's well known through Trump's first administration that there's been so many people working behind the scenes against him. He couldn't do fucking shit. He didn't know what he's walking into, tried to drain the swamp, and because he didn't know politics at the time, he trusted the swamp instead, and the swamp backstabbed him. The FBI has been repeatedly working against him throughout his entire first administration, which is what was happening here. Like, Trump wasn't in control for, unfortunately, most of his first presidency. And I guess you could probably say the second presidency as well, if you talk about Israel here. Like, this is a well-known fact, and it has come out multiple times that the FBI has conspired against Trump, worked with social media to suppress conservatives for many years. This is not just like simply conspiracy theory. There's videos out there of what clearly look like feds and are acting like feds, trying to frame people for breaking the windows and shit. It's confirmed. Everybody has known that the bad parts of January 6th have been completely taken over by insiders from the FBI. It's proven. Most of the politicians were against him, even Mike Pence, his previous VP. Yes, Mike Pence completely backstabbed him. So he was basically kicked out of the fucking party. Nobody trusts Mike Pence anymore. Granted, he's a piece of shit personally, in my opinion, before that had even happened. But that's because Mike Pence is... Like, I guess here I am insulting somebody, even though 5 minutes ago I said that's a bad thing to do. I love being a hypocrite. But Mike Pence has shown time and time again that he is a lying snake. There we go. I guess it's still insulting some people too. There's no way around it. But it's, when it comes to this, like, Charlie doesn't know what he's talking about here. Which is fine. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time myself. But there's a difference between making a standalone video, making all these grand claims, versus actually reading an article and learning and talking about different stuff.
God? Batman? Like, who are you trying to call? Who are you trying to summon to do something? You are the president. So if this is real, why aren't you doing anything? This is a classic President DJT maneuver here, the entire administration really, where they're like, all of these crimes from the Democrats, all of these absolutely abhorrent, vile crimes that the Democrats have done. No more playing nice, no more Mr. Nice Guy. We're showing our teeth, we're baring our fangs, and we're gonna get something done about it. and then nothing. It's all just posturing. It's all performative. It is a game, and they are playing you. They are preying upon your gullibility and your your inclination to be afraid, to constantly keep you in fear, because when you are afraid and when you are convinced that the other side is doing all of these things to get you, you are so fucking easy to control. You're so malleable.
Do I say the obvious point here? It's almost astounding to me that he can't realize that the left does the exact same thing. And if in anything, on a much worse scale. Which side is the one praising and cheering on the death of a major political figure and calling for more people to be assassinated? Which one has had multiple videos and grew, especially during the 2020 COVID debacle, about wanting the trans kids and make their kids gay? Which side was the one burning cities down because a career criminal died of a fent overdose? I'm not going to deny that the right does the same thing, because congratulations, it's politics, it's propaganda. But the scale, the magnitude of this is incomparable. Absolutely fucking incomparable. And for him to sit here and talk about fear mongering while the Democrats are talking about how black people are going to be lynched. Fuck, there was a story a few weeks ago of a black person who committed suicide by hanging himself. And they try to spin it on the fact that he was lynched because he was hanging from a tree because he committed suicide. Like, that's just a recent story. It just astounds me. Just absolutely fucking astounds me that they would go this fucking far.
That's why they're playing that shit in the airports now about how, like, the Democrats are Satan and all of that. If you have all of this overwhelming evidence that you claim to have about all of these crimes and all of this shit that the Democrats have done, why have you done nothing? You would be just as guilty in that case.
Thank you, actually, Charlie, for saying this. Yes, Trump is not radical enough. Thank you. It's like that meme of the soy chat reacting in fear and the Chad smiling and on the other side. Yes, Trump should do something. Thank you. Please.
What is the quote? The only thing it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing? Well, if you know that all of this evil is happening from the Democrats and you're doing nothing, you're just as guilty. Like, this is so clearly obvious to anyone that's thinking for more than 5 fucking seconds. And you don't even need to be thinking for 5 seconds to see this new Truth Social stinker here that he squeaked out as anything other than just a sham. Like, this should just be alarming into the mental decline of Trump. He was president on January 6th. He controlled the FBI. Not Biden. Biden was probably out riding his bike to a fucking twisty treat. I don't think he was down there as the puppet master pulling the strings, putting FBI agents in January 6th. It is so crazy, and yet people will just swallow it. They will swallow any shit that Trump feeds them happily, even when they know it's something bad. Like Ted Cruz saying that he got into Congress 13 years ago solely to represent the interests of Israel. He is an American politician.
Yeah, and guess what? A good chunk of the right, at least the online right, completely bashed him and mocked him for like 2 days straight. Fuck, did I tweet about it? I can't remember. I might have reposted something because I'm basically a repost account at this point. Like, nobody supported him saying that. Everybody hates it. In fact, there's a vast majority of the right hates how loyal politicians are to Israel. There's a huge anti-Israel sentiment that's been growing on the right for months, years now. It is well known how much they hate it.
Politician who openly states that he is here for Israel. That, again, like I said, feels treasonous to me. And I imagine most people in a different time period would feel the same, but because of how tribalistic politics has become, if you're a big MAGA enthusiast, Trump supporter, you have to somehow just hand wave that and support it because that's what you're told you need to do. Even though anyone should be able to hear that and be concerned. Why does Israel have such a huge stranglehold on the American political landscape and such a massive say-so in how American companies do their business? And why do they even have, like, the ability to start making demands about what needs to be censored in regards to their atrocities on American platforms? It would be alarming to everyone if the political sphere wasn't just, I have to support everything from this side no matter what. It is fucking scary. Now, I do want to make a mention of something.
Yeah, this is actually legit good criticism. This is like 11 minutes in. We finally actually have good criticism against Trump, but it's one that I have repeatedly said for months now, for ages. It is one that is repeatedly said on the online right, once again for months, for ages at this point. Nobody actually likes it. But I'm well aware Charlie's coming from the position of the Free Palestine leftist thing. But nobody actually supports Israel on the left or the right. The differences are, of course, different. But yes, Israel should not have this much of a stranglehold over politicians on both the left and the right, by the way. The Jews are funding Democrats too. Hello, Zoran Mamdani. Like, it's on both fucking sides. And it fucking sucks. I hate it. I wish we weren't part of the Sand People problem. I hate the Sand People. Like, it's insufferable. But it's not happening, unfortunately. And I hate it. I fucking hate it. I feel like every fucking stream I'm talking about how Israel's getting their tendrils into American politics. Like, it's insane. Like, and I hate it. But this is one good criticism that the right is repeatedly making about Trump.
It's not all horrible, awful news. There's actually a ceasefire going on right now. And I can only pray that it sticks. With Netanyahu, you never really fucking know. But I can only keep my fingers crossed and pray for the absolute best for the Palestinians and hope that going forward, the people of Gaza will no longer need to fear being massacred by Netanyahu's IDF.
I don't care. This is one, like, is it good? Probably not. Do I care? No. You're not going to use this argument against me. I care more about America first, like as he was mocking earlier in this video, and that means getting Israel out of our fucking politics. I don't care what Israel does to Gaza. I care more about Israel does in America.
Beginning of the video, the focus of this was going to be on the crypto collapse and the super lucky guy that happened to make $190 million going against all rational thinking and against all the odds. Truly a miracle. But I couldn't help myself. This is just so preposterous. But now, let's finally dive into the crypto collapse. CoffeeZilla made a video going over this. It's extremely well put together, so I'm going to be showing you some clips of that as we talk about it.
I don't even know what this is. I think this is all legal, kind of. I don't think it should be, as you'll see.
Thing is, even if it wasn't legal, it wouldn't matter. There will be no justice pursued regardless, because I think it's pretty clear that whoever this is, they are part of Trump's inner circle of cronies, and they had this knowledge beforehand, what was coming, and it doesn't take a genius to recognize that imposing these huge tariffs on China was going to have a huge effect on the market. So it was a pretty easy opportunity for them to short with that knowledge in mind and make an unbelievable amount of money. Again, if it is legal, it shouldn't be, like CoffeeZilla says, but even if it isn't legal, it won't matter, because they're not going to do anything about it.
But the question is, what did this guy know? Okay, how did somebody make $190 million while everyone else was losing their shirts yesterday? If you don't know, there was one of the biggest crashes we've ever seen in crypto. And someone came in 24 hours before and started placing shorts against the market. Short is just when you bet that the underlying asset is going to go down in price and you will make money on that. Now, this all started October 9th at 1639 GMT time. They start accumulating this Bitcoin short.
So T-minus 24 hours until the rest of the world knows this information about the impending tariffs. They come in with $80 million that they start shorting Bitcoin with. That is not like a gamble or anything. That feels like they knew for sure something was going to happen. That is a crazy amount to come out of nowhere with to short Bitcoin.
Now, the amount is unusual, but that itself is not the unusual part. Then we have Ethereum starts to get shorted at 349 GMT. Interesting. $30 million gets deposited into this account. Immediately start placing major bets that the market is going to go down. Why is this significant? Well, because at 1457, this is only a few hours later, like 12 hours later, Trump posts on Truth Social that they are calculating a massive increase on Chinese tariffs.
Zoinks. That's really lucky. This account comes out of nowhere, swinging huge numbers, slinging big time.
Suspicious to downright diabolical is the fact that at this point, the market dips a little bit because you have these threats of tariffs. But the person does not start closing out their shorts yet.
No, that's not weird. This trader's just got diamond hands. What? He's not going to close out his position based off of just that one tweet there. No, that wouldn't make any sense. He's just got strong paws to really grip onto his positions here.
Which I think is very interesting. If you place this huge short bet and then the president tweets something like this, you would think you would close out your order. But not only do they not do that, not only do they not close out their short, they continue to place short bets against Bitcoin. In fact, this person continues to short Bitcoin all the way up till 2049-23 GMT. Why is that significant, ladies and gentlemen? It's because 2049 is the last short he places, okay? 2050 GMT. A minute later, 1 minute later, Trump announces they're considering an 100% tariff on China, which of course tanks the market. And this person makes literally $190 billion in 24 hours.
Then over the course of the next half hour, they close out.
Okay, so crypto, stocks, not my cup of tea. I'm too woman brain for basic fucking math. So I was just kind of sitting there trying to absorb that knowledge. Yeah. Clearly, somebody has some inside trading, like we already talked about at the beginning of the video. Then he went on a very long tangent rant about literally everything that's completely unrelated to it. Now we're back to this point again, which I probably shouldn't have criticized too much, but then again, I live stream. I didn't do a pre-recorded video. But okay, fine. Tit for tat. Yeah, that's bad. And I would like the Trump administration to not do that. I would like that to not happen. It'd be nice for, the rule of law to go after that person and the people involved for doing this, because that is bad. Yeah, like you say, now do a video on Pelosi, Charlie. Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, that's egregious. That's awful. It's a very blatant scam. In fact, it's almost ridiculous how blatant it actually is, because clearly people who care about crypto were able to see it so easily. Versus Pelosi, I mean, it's a well-known trope about her, how obvious hers are, but it's also not as widely known, it seems to be, either. Yeah, so go after Pelosi as well. Like, both are bad. I can very easily say that. Both should be having the law go after them. What else do you want me to say, Charlie, huh?
All of their shorts and they cash out big time. Jackpot. Wow, did they get lucky or what, huh? Man, I cannot believe the coinky-dink there. Shorting all the way up until 1 minute before Trump's tweet. Geez, some guys have all the luck. You would actually need to be the biggest fucking stupidest troglodyte on the planet to think that this was just like a lucky, miracle trade here from this individual. This is clearly someone that had information about what was coming. The speculation is that it's Barron Trump. There's a lot of people that are providing their loose evidence that it's Barron. Nothing's confirmed on who this is, and I don't think there will ever be confirmation on who this was. But it doesn't take a galaxy brain 5-digit IQ genius to see this and recognize that the only way that something like this happens is if that person had prior knowledge of what was coming. There is no other explanation for it. So while everyone else lost tons of money, some people lost everything. This crash was so colossal that some people took their own lives because of it. The only way that someone went totally against the grain all the way up until 1 minute before the fucking, bomb dropped from Trump here is if they knew it was coming. Like, it's just, I think it is so clear. And the only way you could possibly think anything else is if you're already brainwashed and mind-controlled and stuck in a cult mentality. I really don't know what it will take to snap people out of this. The people that are just so far gone and willing to deny all the evidence of their eyes and ears, that they're constantly being told that they need to. Following these orders of just deny everything that you see and hear from this administration and everything going on. I don't know how you bring them back into, being able to think. Actually be able to think. It's fucking terrifying. It's actually extremely scary. So yeah, I wanted to yap about this morning. That's really about it. So yeah.
Okay, so I've already said that was bad, right? But maybe because I'm assuming Moist Critical is more into crypto than I am, and it is terrible that a lot of people lost everything because of this. But this is such a I won't call it, it's not a nothing burger. This is not like, the nothing burger was the fucking political article that became a something burger because the GOP is a bunch of fucking cucks that we covered earlier in stream. This isn't a nothing burger, this is something serious, and I did see this stuff floating around on the discourse, so people are condemning it, but this is not the first thing I would think of to criticize Trump, personally myself, because there are worse things he has done, like Charlie already made in the video, how closely related we are when it comes to Israel. That to me is a bigger concern in my opinion. Well, I'm coming from the right, but I think another bigger concern is how lackluster the handling of immigration has gone. I know he's playing by the rule of law and he's playing by the book, which I don't think he should do. And that's where I'm going to criticize Trump on in that case, because I'm somewhere on the right. So that's where my criticism comes from. But like, there are, I feel like, worse things you can criticize Trump on than just this. And to see him get so emotional about this, the point he makes this yap video about the brainwashing situation is crazy. And he thinks people are being brainwashed because they're not criticizing Trump on the insider trading. I really feel like that's grasping at straws. Like, the vast majority of this video was just him grasping at straws, I feel like. He only made like 2 solid points. And that's the insider trading's bad. Okay, I can agree. And how much control Israel has on the government. That's also bad. Like, the rest of it is just nothing. And for him to lose his mind over this, maybe because I'm on the opposite side of the political spectrum, but like, this is just, I don't understand it myself. Like, okay, I guess maybe I should try to be like on the leftist, in the leftist shoes. Where would I lose be? Like, the brainwashing situation is crazy. I mean, the first thing that I can think of in my mind if I was a leftist to make a video about the brainwashing situation is crazy would be probably, honestly, immigration. Because there are videos of ICE manhandling people, and there's plenty of videos out there of women crying as children get taken away from them or they get deported. Like, and I could see you making a video saying the brainwashing situation is crazy, once again in the leftist shoes, talking about how evil Trump is for breaking up families and doing the emotional argument about this. Not insider trading that both sides of the party do egregiously. I'm going to assume what's critical is way more in the crypto, and this is why it's a lot more personal to him. They're all scammers. I simply prefer the scammers on my side. Well, I would make the argument that Trump's not really on our side, frankly, but he's definitely far closer than Kamal would ever be, so, you know. Name someone who can get elected who isn't? Yes. Like, that's unfortunately the case. These are the cards that were dealt with. Of course, we could always, you know, say that, we gotta vote our way out of it, of course. And that would, you know, be the preferred position for a lot of people, sort of including me. But if we're not trying to fed post towards the sun, if we're still trying to play by the book, then there are ways that this can be handled, and it's not, and it's frustrating. And in fact, it'd be great if we could actually handle everything by the book. But we're still not doing that either, and that's where a lot of the right, including me, are not happy with Trump. Charlie, from what I understand, he hasn't actually been involved with politics for very long. Once again, I always kind of seen him as like a normie. I know he like recently got into politics. He had his debate with Sneeko and talked about trans and kids and a bunch of shit. So he's clearly a leftist, right? Like Asmund's center left in my opinion. Charlie's much more farther left than that. Maybe not full-on communist, but still. So he's siloed off into a different part of the internet, and so therefore he's seeing things from a different lens. And that's normal, because that's just how it works, because everybody's in their own camp. But regardless if everyone's in their own camp, reality is still reality. You shouldn't allow foreigners and a massive amount of illegals into your fucking country. They're illegal for a fucking reason, right? You can there's a bunch of arguments against legal immigration as well, but for the sake of the argument, well, we won't discuss legal immigration at this point. For different things, like you can easily make arguments against transing kids and how that's bad because they're fucking kids. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about it, or maybe he doesn't know what he's so ingrained with the leftist positions that's I'm not gonna go as far as say he doesn't know what he's talking about. It feels like that to me, but I also recognize, once again, we're on both sides of the different sides of the aisle here, and it just baffles me how wrong it all is.